protein, these companies are counting on you not paying attention to any of the other crazy ingredients that they might be putting in their hyper-processed foods, since they know that you'll see protein and just assume that it's good for you.
So I'm trying to get jacked. I lost about 25 pounds since January. I'm trying to optimize my diet, eat more protein. Every time I go to the grocery store now, I see another new weird product that claims it's high protein. Like I'm seeing high protein popcorn. And I even saw on Twitter, this guy posts about Costco has like protein sparkling water. Like God knows what kind of witchcraft these food producing mad scientists did to create this concoction. But aside from all that, I want to figure out, is this high protein product thing a scam or not? I found this video and it's from this guy Levi. He seems to be an expert on consumer packaged goods and consumer trends and products. While watching this video, I'm going to be looking for red flags, things that point to me that this high protein product thing is actually a scam. If I see 3 red flags, well, it's a scam.
Protein is showing up in everything nowadays, from cereals to yogurt to Snicker bars and other candies to Kardashian endorsed popcorn.
As soon as I see the Kardashians getting involved in a product trend, that's red flag number 1. I'm giving that red flag number 1. Maybe half a red flag. But in all seriousness, these other products like cereal, like bars, we've seen high protein products like these for a very long time. Like for over a decade, I've seen these products on the shelves. So that doesn't concern me too much. The Kardashians, that does concern me a little bit.
And people are eating more protein than ever before. And these food trends are my least favorite kind of trend, you guys, the health-focused ones.
What's wrong with the health-focused trend? So much of our culture these days is geared around being unhealthy. Why not have trends that help us be more healthy? I don't see an issue with it, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's see.
Promoted by ripped influencers explaining how they are hacking their bodies to be the hottest that they can possibly be, and how you can do it too if you just follow their cottage cheese only meal plan.
I think that's a bit of an overreaction. I watch a lot of these fitness YouTubers, and the reason I do is because the YouTube algorithm promotes it to me because I'm trying to get jacked. I watch Jeff Nippard, and he knows that people are watching him to try to get advice on how to get jacked. So the fact that they're promoting high protein products to help us get jacked, there's nothing wrong with that. I've never watched a Jeff Nippard video where he says all you have to do is eat cottage cheese and you'll get jacked. I haven't seen that.
This is something that is being pushed like crazy by all the biggest food producers in North America. This is not a cookie company or a style of chocolate bar. We're talking about a societal shift that's being promoted by the industrial food system to a degree that we have not seen in a very long time.
I'm gonna say, not a red flag. This is, common for any sort of marketing. You have a new feature or thing, and the marketing people want you to promote that in order to generate more sales. And that's what we're doing here. They've identified a trend, high protein, so they're gonna push that to people. And as far as I know, it doesn't seem to be too bad of a thing to do. So I'm not considering that a scam.
As you probably know, protein isn't like a new thing. We've known about protein for a really, really long time, but it was only really introduced as an additional nutrient to the average person's diet through fitness culture like 20 years ago, maybe, even less. I remember buying the P90X whey protein that Tony Horton promoted in the DVDs that I watched every day. And I was kind of a weirdo for doing it back then.
Okay, I'm gonna say another non-red flag. I think this is fine. As we grow and progress as a society and learn more about health and what promotes good health, if we discover that high protein is something we should be striving for to live a long and healthy life, then the fact that these products have popped up on the scene in the last 20 years goes hand in hand with that. In my opinion, perfectly fine, not a red flag.
More than ever, we're adding protein to our diets, and we're doing it because of the purported health benefits that it is giving us.
No, that's a red flag. When I see high protein cinnamon rolls, you're defeating the purpose. You're missing the point. The point of consuming high protein is to be healthy.
I'm not saying that the claims about the health benefits of protein that the health industry has said are not true. Consuming protein is important for your overall health, but consuming more protein specifically as a tool to aid in muscle growth and weight loss is increasingly common.
All right, we're on the same page. Protein equals good, and Levi agrees. That's a good thing.
We can't just eat protein in a normal way, right? You couldn't just consume a specific thing in moderation, could we? No. We heard protein equals gains, and now we have carnivore diets. Influencers telling you to consume an absurd amount of protein per day, and the subsequent explosion of products trying to capitalize on this growing interest in our own self-improvement.
I'm seeing a big conflation here, and I think it's important that when we're talking about our high protein products a scam, there's a big difference between an influencer promoting to his audience or her audience, hey, try the carnivore diet, only eat meat, which is a pretty radical diet, right? Versus like the people at General Mills, in the lab cooking, figure out what new product they're gonna launch that has a high protein, kick to it. Big difference between those two things.
Okay, so do you remember when everybody was going keto or when vegan diets were like the peak of health? This is just the latest version of what we've decided is going to be the healthiest thing that is going to make us look the way that we think we should look.
Everyone I know who is vegan and everyone I know who's tried veganism, it was never about the health. It was about the morality. They feel bad about, a cow being turned into a steak, right? And that's why they eat vegan. I don't think anyone ever claimed that being vegan was like optimal for health and performance.
All of these trends usually rely on very legitimate nutritional facts as a baseline for an entirely overblown dietary movement centered around one particular nutrient or the lack thereof. This is a very unique part of the story too, actually. An NPR story pointed out that protein's never been vilified by the food industry. Like fats and carbohydrates and sugars and salts and gluten have all taken their turn being the bad guy in the North American diet. But protein has somehow never been accused of anything.
This is a good thing. This is not a red flag. It's like looking at, the nicest guy you know, and just because he's never been accused of a crime doesn't mean that we should be suspicious of why he's such a good guy and is never committing a crime. If food culture and the media and scientists or whatever have never gone about and pinned protein as something that's unhealthy, maybe that's because we've known and our health experts have known for a long time that it's perfectly fine.
Protein influencers are now telling people that they need to be getting between 150 and 200 grams of protein per day.
This type of diet, this is what I find when I research online. This is what I've found when I've spoken with my doctor. It's not like some crazy radical thing like a carnivore diet, like 150 grams of protein and above. Like these are numbers that are thrown around pretty commonly, and it's not necessarily due to this current trend.
This is despite the fact that most professionals say that depending on your weight, you probably don't even need half of that. The levels of protein intake that these people are talking about is only necessary if you are like an elite level athlete.
They're talking about elite level athletes because they are talking to people who want to be elite level athletes.
And the craziest part though is that we invented a problem that didn't even exist. We were getting enough protein before this trend even started. In fact, we were getting more protein than we even needed. But somehow we've been convinced that there is a deficiency here. And the only way for you to fix this problem is by massively scaling up the amount of protein-rich foods that you consume. So already, at this point, I'm pissed.
I would view myself as someone who maybe in the past hasn't got as much protein as I needed. So I find it very helpful to learn about these new ways that I can augment my diet to increase my protein intake, lose weight, gain muscle, and, live a healthier life. So I'm not sure what there is to be pissed off about.
You'll buy the protein pasta, the protein bread, the protein dessert, the protein powders to put in your protein just to get the numbers that you need.
So a company identifies a trend that people want to eat more protein. They put more protein in their products, and then they're the bad guy? This doesn't make sense.
In most cases, you can just add protein dust to your already successful product, then tack on another 25% on the price tag. But it gets even better because protein powders and supplements aren't FDA regulated, so there's a lot less regulatory hurdles to get over.
I'm not necessarily trying to make an argument of whether or not more regulation is good here, but anytime I see less FDA approval over a product, I'll raise a red flag.
Now, without even going into a grocery store, I can tell you that the protein-enriched version of anything is going to cost you more. Just like how vegan or gluten-free was weaponized in the past, this particular word is being used to signal to shoppers that this thing is healthy or better than other things.
I don't see a problem with this. You're a company who has your base product and you decide to enhance it with protein, which costs you more to do, so you charge more. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And we really should be careful about equating these sorts of products to gluten-free products or to vegan products. Vegan products are made for people that are eating for a moral reason, not necessarily for a health reason. Gluten-free products, I used to eat a lot of gluten-free products. I still eat a lot of gluten-free products. The concept is that it's helping, your immune system function better. This is a much different concept than muscular development via protein, which is a tale as old as time that we know works.
We've all gotten used to this routine, but even though we know that it's a gimmick, we kind of can't help but fall for it. Like there's something in our monkey brains that just needs to synthesize all the information that we're being bombarded by all the time.
I'm watching this video really carefully right now. I don't see the part where these food companies have tried to trick me. Like I know what they're trying to do and I'm on board with it for the most part.
This trend is very closely correlated to the increase in weight loss drugs like Ozempic. These protein-enriched products are promoted and sold as the perfect solution to the hunger needs of people on weight loss drugs.
Okay, again, we're making a big leap here that, GLP-1 products, these products that basically turn off your hunger signals. If by taking Ozempic and then pairing that with a high protein diet, that people are choosing to make this combination, the food manufacturers aren't bundling Ozempic with their high protein Wheaties, right? So to say that it's Wheaties' fault that Ozempic exists, that's not a red flag.
Do you remember when calories were basically the worst thing in the world and everybody just avoided calories at all costs without actually fully understanding what a calorie meant? Like it was a big deal when McDonald's put the calorie things on the side of the menu.
Calories were never the bad guy. It's just, common fact. If you want to lose weight, it's calories in, calories out. If you work out and expend more calories, burn more calories than you consume, you lose weight. And in terms of McDonald's putting calories on the menu, that was actually a huge bonus for consumers because you're ordering these products like a Big Mac and you probably justify to yourself, maybe it's the same as like a sandwich and a half or something. And then, they put the thing on there that it's like, this is like 1,000 calories or whatever it might be, right? To get, some double Big Mac or some crazy thing with the milkshake. Now you're eating 2,000 calories. This isn't meant to scare people into eating less calories. This was the government putting these safeguards on these menus for consumers so they're aware of just how crazy amount of calories are in a lot of these fast foods.
Today, you have people who are doing this tricky balancing act to eat as little calories as possible while trying to eat as much protein as possible. And the more that these food trends evolve and the more words we try to define them, the more difficult it becomes to actually just make a decision on what you're supposed to do for dinner that night.
This is me right now. I'm limiting my calories, to a healthy degree as much as I can. And I'm trying to maximize protein to a healthy degree as much as I can. And it's going great. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm maintaining my muscle. I've gained a little bit of muscle. And I feel a lot more clarity than I did before I did all of this when I was just eating all over the place, eating whatever, not really caring too much about what was going in. This is actually giving me a lot more clarity rather than confusion.
The protein phenomenon is one of the only food trends that specifically targets men. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of female influencers out there talking about how much protein they're getting too, but this is maybe the most successful male-focused diet trend ever. There is a great article in Vanity Fair that blames the protein hype on the MAGA movement.
Why is the protein hype framed like it's a bad thing that the manosphere is promoting on people? Like men enjoy growing muscles. It helps them, live a longer, healthier life, attract more people, feel confident, which that's a separate thing. You should feel confident with the skin you're in. But regardless, out of all the crazy stuff that those crazy, manosphere guys promote to kids, right, that are watching their videos, a high protein diet and a reasonable caloric intake can't be one of the worst things. Just because certain people talk about a product that you might not like doesn't make the product itself bad.
You've probably heard of the Liver King, who is like the leader of the carnivore diet trend that we've seen gaining popularity online, where people basically eat meat and that's it, sort of.
There is a huge difference between what the Liver King did and the consequences of that and people just saying, eat more high protein. We can't equate the two.
Men are becoming a target for specialized gendered products. The pink tax has been along for a really long time. Companies will make identical products, paint one pink and one blue, and then jack up the price on the pink one because it's specifically for women. Specifically. But now they know that men can be just as easily targeted.
We really got to be careful here of the difference between food marketers noticing that men want high protein products and creating and delivering those products to them and targeting them in marketing versus like some sort of weird like psychological manipulation of men just because they want high protein products. And when I walk around the grocery store, like I don't see like a guy flexing on these high protein products, usually more of like a longevity type of thing.
But with protein, these companies are counting on you not paying attention to any of the other crazy ingredients that they might be putting in their hyper processed foods, since they know that you'll see protein and just assume that it's good for you.
That is a red flag. If they're putting protein on something that doesn't look like it should be high protein, there might be a distraction angle going on here, and there's some weird compound that we have no idea about what's going on, and that's also in the product. It's a little concerning.
Like I probably have protein enriched food up there in my kitchen that I didn't even know I bought, just because it's so hard not to fall into this trap.
All right, so either I've been completely one-shotted by this manipulation marketing targeting men like me who are trying to get jacked and lose weight, or I didn't see anything that bad. The one takeaway I did see is just because it says high protein doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you. If it's too good to be true, like high protein cinnamon roll, it probably is. But just because it says high protein doesn't mean it's bad for you either. I'm still gonna have protein powder. I'm still gonna find it cool when I can find a granola bar that's high protein that helps to get more protein in during the day. And I'm still gonna eat high protein products, but hopefully the less processed ones. I'm Calvin Caracciolo. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.